Okay, so welcome back, and now what we're going to do is we're going to do an example, and we're going to see if a particular series that we're given is a telescoping series or not. Okay, so this is the series we're given, and we're asked to, one, determine whether it's telescoping, and two, determine whether it converges or not, and if it converges, then what does it converge to? So we've got three things going on there, okay? So first of all, how do we determine whether this is telescoping? Well, let's write out the first few partial sums, right? So let's do S sub 1, okay? So S sub 1 is going to be what? The cosine of 1 minus the cosine of 1/2, right? Which is equal to, well, we don't know what it is equal to. That one I'm not going to deal with, right? So we don't know what the cosine of 1 is, okay? Not off the top of my head, okay? So, but let's leave it alone. So let's do S sub 2. So now it's going to be this one, right? So it's going to be cosine 1 minus cosine 1/2, right? So again, that's the first term. So S2 is going to be the first two terms, sum of the first two terms, right? So it's going to be S1 plus the second term, right? So it's going to be this plus, what's the next one? So when n is 2, it's going to be cosine of 1/2 minus cosine of 1/3, which then equals, well, we could drop the parentheses here because it's just plus, right? So now we see that these two cancel. And we end up with cosine 1 minus cosine 1/3. Now, what about S3? Well, S3 is going to be cosine 1 minus the cosine of 1/2 plus cosine of 1/2 minus cosine of 1/3 plus cosine of 1/3 minus cosine of 1/4. Okay? And then likewise we see that this cancels with this one, this cancels with this one, and we end up with the difference between the first and the last. So this is equal to cosine 1 minus cosine of 1/4. Okay, so now, in general, now we can see the pattern, and so we see that the kth partial sum is going to end up being cosine of 1 minus the cosine of 1 over k plus 1. Okay, so now all we have to do is look at the sequence of the partial sums, right? So it's obvious from this, right? So again, it depends on this last term, right? So now it's obvious that the 1 over k plus 1, right? 1 over k plus 1 approaches 0 as k approaches infinity, right? Which means that this is approaching the cosine of 0, which the cosine of 0 is 1. So that means that the sequence of S sub k the sequence of partial sums converges to the cosine of 1 minus 1. So that means what? That the series also converges to the same thing. It converges to cosine of 1 minus 1. And that's the exact answer. And we're done. All right. Have a great day.